Howdy, folks. Welcome back to part 2 of episode 24.
Yay! What have I got in my pocket?
Hey, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of our special guest, Rowan's episode. It is so lovely to have him here once again. I'm your host and published. Actually, Rowan, I'm actually just gonna add this segment to your episode.
All right.
So that's what I'll do. So I don't need to necessarily reintroduce and things like that, because I'm just gonna add the segment to the episode so we can go back to back. I just learned how to do that the other day, so that's fun. Yes. Go me. So,
Cool.
Okay, folks. So, this is part 2, which we'll be getting into. Oh gosh, I'm trying not to burp. Which we'll be getting into attachment styles. As Rowan and I promised, we're gonna get to talk about attachment styles and which ones we identify with and what's the past with that. So, Rowan, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read a couple of the 4 main, attachment styles. I'm just gonna read off some descriptions of it for others who are driving, who aren't able to pull out their phones and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna start with secure attachment. It can have a form of confidence, safety, appropriate boundaries, comfortable and responsive, as well as positive view of self, positive view of others, interdependent, comfortable with emotional intimacy, comfortable with closeness, healthy relationship bonds. And here's a quote that they add as well on the list is, "He is there for me when I need him. She always calms me." So we'll hear statements similar to that within secure attachment styles. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then we have dismissive attachment, which is struggles with closeness, withdraws, over-independent emotionally. I'm not dismissive attachment, by the way. Anyways, over-independent, emotionally distant, unresponsive. Let's see. Oh wait, just kidding. I'm on the wrong one. But dismissive is another word for the avoidant attachment, correct?
Yeah, I think so. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay, and so dismissive / avoidant attachment, positive view of self, negative view of others, independent, self-reliant, too independent and self-reliant, difficult to get close with others, puts up walls, leaves or avoids during conflict. Some statement examples are, "I don't need her, I can take care of myself." And the last 2, we have anxious attachment, which is emotionally volatile, fears rejection, anxious and clingy, romanticizes people, seeks reassurance a lot, has a negative view of self, positive view of others, quote unquote too dependent, fear of losing the relationship, emotional highs and lows, can sometimes be aggressive. And here's some quote examples. "She'll let me down, he'll leave me." And the last one is fearful attachment style, fierce connection, poor boundaries, extreme responses, emotionally hot and cold, negative view of self, negative view of others, seeks closeness but avoids closeness, disorganized, fearful of making connections, and could be self-harming or abusive to oneself or others. And here's some statement quotes is, "There's something wrong with me," or "No one can love me." And so that, folks, are just a little bit of the, secure avoidant slash dismissive, anxious and fearful attachment styles. Um, Now, this doesn't mean that, oh, like everyone who has an anxious attachment style completely relates to every single thing. That's not what it's saying, but it's saying like we do see, it's very common to see these characteristics um, when it is an anxious attachment style. So now that the listeners have a little bit of a, foundation and some, knowledge to go off of, Rowan, let's get into attachment styles.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yes. So, uh, Rowan, what attachment style would you say you identify the most with?
Um,
Or is there
See,
multiple?
I have no idea. I was reading earlier about it, and I was really trying to discern which one I fell into, but I could not work out for the life of me which one I was, because I could probably take elements from every single one, depending on the situation. I really think it is more about the situation you're in
Hmm.
and possibly the other person, because there's been times where I've had things with people and I've been like really avoidant, like I just like can't be asked, and maybe that just shows a lack of interest in that person, and that's actually not like reflective of my attachment style. And in other cases, I've been in relationships, not in relationships, but had a situation where I've like really liked someone and then they've been a bit distant, and it's sort of made me more of an anxious attachment. Like I don't know what it was called now. I read it as like anxious,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
where you're like quite needy and stuff, and it
right,
sort
right.
of pushes the other person away. I think I've kind of grown into more secure, but I feel like over the past like 10 years, it's definitely changed depending on my life lessons or the current situation I'm in. If that makes sense,
Yeah,
it's not just being a particular constant the whole time I've been alive.
right,
Um,
right.
I think on paper I should really have like a secure attachment style, probably. I'd say this with the utmost love and stuff. My mum and dad's relationship isn't the best. They are together, but they do argue a lot, and there's a clear like dynamic where there's a definite domination from one end to the other, if that makes sense. So like one person controls the relationship apart from the other. But yeah, it's really confusing to me. I was really trying to work it out. I can definitely see times in the past where I've been an anxious attachment style, or I've been like an avoidant attachment style, and then there's other times where I've been a secure
Right.
attachment style.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. I like how you said that it depends. It can be, it can depend on a situation and or an individual. So that's the thing. Yeah, like you said, attachment styles, just because you identify with one now doesn't mean it's going to always be like that. And just because you identify one with some particular relationship that you're in, doesn't mean the next one after that you're not going to be in another quote unquote attachment style. Because a lot of the times, um, it is protection mechanism, it is a coping mechanism, and it can be conditional as well. Like, um, because I mean, I don't want. I guess I'll speak for me, and off of something you said as well, that there's a little bit in, you know, all four of the attachment styles that we can identify with or have identified with. Um, and it doesn't mean like, oh, you're completely an avoidant attachment. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's like, yeah, it can be based off, it can just be based off because of like certain things that you went through as a child, how you were loved by parents. Ooh, that's huge, folks. Like how a parent loved you or quote unquote loved you, or how you were raised, scientifically and statistically speaking, is a huge huge factor in how an attachment style comes up in your life, in the future as an adult. Um, so yeah, but it can also be based off of, just a individual as well. So basically what I'm saying is, it's not a generalized thing on everyone. It's very individualized attachment styles. So I don't want to just say, oh, just because someone has a negative view of self, that means that everyone who has a negative view of self are fearful attachment.
Yeah.
Right. So there we go. That's what I'm trying to get at. I was struggling with words a little bit, but we got there. Rowan, do you feel like your past, in a way, shape, or form, well, specifically childhood, well, that's the thing. Attachment styles can also change throughout life. Experiences, both good and bad, can affect this. Because, for example, there could be someone that comes in your life and you're kind of like avoiding attachment. But then sometimes it can take that one person to just love your walls down and just bring out that secure attachment in you. And I mean, oh, that's just beautiful. One day, that's beautiful.
Exactly. So I really think it's situational more than,
or
like you learn from experience to experience. You think like, oh, so I was too needy in that last fling I had. Maybe I shouldn't take that into the next potential relationship. You learn and you adapt almost to change to like fit your current like experience.
You let yourself learn.
Yeah. I think it's all about learning the lesson, isn't it? Thinking like, oh, how did that operate? What was the dynamic? Was it functional? Was it completely dysfunctional? And if it was either or, like, what can I learn to take into the next thing I have with someone to make it more beneficial to myself and to the other person?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I completely agree. Do you
feel
like? Oh, go ahead. It's your episode.
No, I was just gonna say. So, like, I think to a degree over the past 2 years, I've been quite not avoidant, but I just haven't really been looking for anything. Where it's like you get something happens to you, you have like a bad experience in a relationship, quote unquote,
right?
And you just want to be free for a bit. You just don't want to have the constraints of a relationship and worry that you're messing up or you're doing something wrong. So you sort of adapt like a avoidant attachment style,
right?
Where you're just a bit dismissive to everyone and you just want to be alone. And like, if anyone tries to initiate anything with you, you just like keep them at arm's length.
Right.
I feel like I'm very selective more than anything. I was really trying to find out, can you be like secure and avoidant? I couldn't find any information on that at all. But I feel like I'm all three. I just feel like I'm all three. I feel like everyone is all three.
Right.
I really think it's situational. I don't know.
Because like you said, like, I mean, we can identify with a lot of these. Dude, and that's something that's also really cool, is it's really interesting. I also call the body a brain as well, because the body does remember, just like the brain remembers everything. We just forget, but our body and brain don't forget. So it's like when you said, you're just kind of like been like distant and standoffish, haven't really been looking for anything, things like that. That's actually really cool that you say that, because it's a lot of the times, and this is something I just learned, is that can be a sign of the nervous system just trying to help recover the body. Your body is trying to recover from whatever situation.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, your body is just trying to recover. That's the thing. The body protects us so much more than we know or think or are aware of. I mean, the body is constantly taking in information. The body can is a lot of times constantly taking in trauma, whether we realize it or not. You know, because trauma isn't always, oh, tons of abuse. You know, it could be something small, and doesn't mean it has to last long. Not saying that. It's just that to the nervous system, some things can, I mean, no, a lot of things can be a certain type of trauma to the nervous system. So if, like, if you put your hand on a stove, you're gonna feel that. That's a type of trauma. So it's like, yeah, that does go into attachment styles, because, you know, it's like, not all trauma brings about post-traumatic stress disorder. Not all trauma does that. Because at least for me, when I hear the word trauma, I think of, either from my experiences or just trauma in general, like, oh, it's something extremely, extremely horrific. But that's where things get tricky, because it's like, I mean,
It's not actually trauma.
well, it all is. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, it can get to a point where like, there are some traumas that can be invalidated because one trauma is quote unquote worse than the other. And yes, that could be true. However, it's that the scary part is the invalidation, because I'm like, invalidate everyone's trauma. If they experience something and it's affecting them, it's valid. It's valid.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's besides the point. But, you know, going back to, like, the body, you know, recovering, and things like that, you know, our body can, you know, identify with a certain attachment style, because it is in a process of recovering or protecting itself from something, someone. You know, our body just tries to protect us a lot, you know. And so, and that's the thing, our body doesn't always know how to do that in the healthiest way. So it's like, that's when we have to come in, and sometimes we need to get therapy, sometimes we need to research, sometimes we need to, you know, step outside of our comfort zone every now and then, which is super hard. And it's like, it's not a one size fits all, one and done type of thing, you know, because our body is going to protect us. However, protection can end up robbing us. And that's the thing. I'm like, good Mike, why can't I just see on someone's forehead if they're safe or not? Like, why can't, if I'm going to step out, I want to step out on, like, a street of gold. I don't want to step out and fall, you know? But it's like, one day you're gonna step on that street of gold, but how will you know if you never step out? And so it's just like, I thank my body for trying to protect me. How about that? I thank my body for trying to protect me. However, I think it's super cool to, at least for me, this is something I'm trying to work on, is thanking my body for protecting me and for being in the recovery process, instead of, like, hating myself for it being so hard to step out and to learn more, you know. So
I think you just have to throw yourself in the deep end, whether you want to do it or not. That's the only way you're going to learn.
Right. Yeah,
it's like swimming, isn't it? It's like when you're learning to swim, they don't they, like, throw you in the deep end. I remember that was, like, one of the scariest moments in my life when I was learning to swim and they threw me in the deep end. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to drown here.
Sorry, it's not funny.
Genuinely, I still remember it to this day, but I'm grateful it happened, because you have to learn quickly how to adapt.
Yes.
But I get that. It's like, these little traumatic events and stuff sort of educate your perception going forward, and just, like, all, and they make you think a certain way, and it's how you act and how you go into relationships and how you. Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's really fascinating. I think you have to realize that there's, like, two brains in there. There's the natty brain at the back, the monkey brain. Well, you've got three brains technically, but the main two. There's the natty brain and the logical brain, and you just have to learn to balance them both. And be like, if you're going into a relationship, think, oh, my feelings are saying this, but logically, I should be thinking this. So, for example, if someone's being really avoidant, and you logically know that it's probably a bad idea because you want a more secure relationship where you're like
Yeah.
together all the time, and you're, say, anxious attachment style, your logical brain's probably going to say this is a bad idea. I want
Yeah.
something more from this, and I know this person can't give this to me. But the other part's saying like, oh, this is a really good potential relationship, and
Right.
this person
Potential. That's the.
is
This
person is like, say, really
Potential.
attractive, and we're going to spread my genes with this person. That's all your biological brain's thinking. It's just thinking about spreading the genes, so it's going to initiate these feelings of like attachment and needing to get that person. So it's about balancing and thinking like,
Yes.
right, what is the logical solution here?
Right. And that's
Just
also something really cool and interesting that you mentioned. One, it made me think about when you talked about, getting thrown in the deep end. It's like that protection. Just don't stay there too long. Like there's a don't stay there too long. That's when it can start to rob you. Because like you said, of course, that fear of, the deep end, of course, because you don't want to drown. However, there will come a time and a place where you can be able to, if you choose to, or if someone helps you, or just ask for help, that's easier said than done, where you'll get thrown into the deep end, but eventually learn. I guess this is a better way to say it. Don't throw a 1-year-old in a 12-foot water, okay? Don't do that. That's not what
I don't know.
saying.
Babies normally float, don't they?
See, yeah, okay, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, that is that is protection right there. That is protection right there. However, when you're 12 years old and it's that same 12-foot water, and there's someone right by you who, or there's someone in the water, or if there's a lifeguard and you jump in, that's kind of like going out of your protection, with the opportunity to learn, because there is safety around you. And I can't think of a better analogy, honestly, but I'm hoping people can get the picture, not like think too deep into it. Well, what if everyone just sat there and watched you drown? And I'm like, I hope no one actually does that literally. But, people can do that though. But just, I think the point is kind of like what you're saying, when it comes to protection, there is a discernment between uncomfortable and just completely unsafe. And that, and so
100%.
Yeah.
You have to like teeter on the line, and you have to like dip your foot in, and then you slowly, progressively.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You build up to it. Like when you learn to swim the first time and you get thrown in the deep end, it's not like you've not been swimming in the shallow end before. You've already had the lessons taught to you about how to properly swim in the shallow end. So you just use that information to adapt to the new threat. That makes sense.
Yes. I felt
Preach.
that. Like, preach. Did I do it? Did I go cross-eyed too?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I always wondered if I did that. Dude, and so also another thing, the second thing that you had mentioned that made me think about something is, how we were raised can also affect the type of attachment style that we allow into our lives from another individual. For example, like, for those of us who've always had to work for our parents' love, we oftentimes can oftentimes be more attracted to someone who is of an avoidant attachment style. Because it's like,
because you need their approval.
Exactly, because that's what's our norm. That's what's our norm. Is to work for this person. It's not like we were raised with love given freely and unconditional. And we see those who often can identify with secure attachment. We see that those individuals have had that type of childhood where it's like, here's this unconditional love. Not perfect at all, but here's this unconditional love. Why? Because you are simply my child. You don't have to work for my love. You don't have to make all the great grades for my love. I'm going to love you regardless, and you're valuable regardless. A grade is just a number. However, there are folks who have been raised, and I'm not bashing parents, but that have been raised as like, You made a B on that test. Uh, that's bad. Get an A. And it's like they don't
Yeah.
acknowledge that. What if that child studied so hard to get that B? That
Yeah.
B is everything to that child, and to just dismiss their work, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, or when someone brings you a painting, your child brings you like some scribble, and you're like, what is that? That's not anything. That child, that child, that's something. To you, the parent, it might not be anything. It might just be some scribble, and you're like, that's ugly. That don't look
Yeah.
good. What is that? Throw that away. I'm not hanging that up on the fridge unless it's like the Mona Lisa. But, it's like to that child. So basically, oh, validation, you know what I mean? Validation to a child can affect their certain attachment style,
Mm.
that they're attracted to or that they give off.
Yeah.
Really, it really can. That's interesting. Wow, I just kind of put that together, the whole like validation and stuff like that. So like for me, Rowan, I would say I mm, I used to, let's see. I see a lot of the I'm learning a lot in the secure attachment. Definitely learning a lot. In the avoidant attachment, I have the unhealthily independent.
Yeah.
Because I had to be on my own so much in life. I didn't
Mhm.
like my parents weren't there to hold my hand. They were there physically, but they were parents to my brother, not me. Yes, yes, I'm throwing a little bit of shade to my parents. They need to be held accountable. They'll be fine. Um, but anyways, yeah. So I've been going to group counseling to work on, being a healthy balance of independent and dependent.
Yeah.
Um, Give me 1 second. Let me actually search up the word intradependent because this just popped up in the secure attachment style. 1 second. Hey Siri, what does interdependent mean?
Interdependent means of two or more people or things dependent on each other.
Oh, that's perfect. See, that's what I'm trying to be. Interdependent. Yes, I also call it independently dependent together. I love that. Okay, I finally have a word for that. Interdependent. There we go. So yeah, I'm working on being the interdependent, and slowly I'm seeing it work. And that's a thing. Like I had to do self growth, self awareness checks, going to counseling, going to therapy, setting boundaries, learning
Mm.
from other people as well, you know, to help get me to this secure attachment. Whether I realized it or not, I just knew I needed to heal and work on myself. Because I remember a long time ago, I definitely identified with all of fearful attachment. Um, which negative self view, negative view of others,
Yeah.
seeks closeness but avoids closeness, fearful of making connections, self harming, and abusive towards oneself and others. I was verbally abusive towards men growing up. Not saying romantically, just men in general. That's where a lot of my trauma came from. Those men, I'm so much different now, and I'm so grateful for it. We love self
We
growth
love
and
growth. We
therapy.
love growth, don't we?
Yeah, and then the quote unquote no one can love me, and that's the thing. The I learned this attachment style
Yeah.
as a protection mechanism because my body didn't know what else to do. It did the best that it could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm saying that because I don't want someone listening to be beating themselves up if they're struggling with this. Have grace on yourself, folks. Your body, look, your body was just doing the best that it could to protect you. And I'm sorry that there have been people that it came on and fucked you over. Like a lot of things, folks, that we carry now didn't start with us, but started to us. So have some grace. Do not beat yourself up. You do not deserve shame. You don't deserve shame. Um, you're worth growth. You are worth, love. Regardless, you are worth working on yourself and allowing others to love you. so that you can just continue to grow in life in all aspects and to heal in all aspects, because someone out there listening needs to hear that they're worth it and that they deserve it, and that shame, that's not your burden to carry. That was given to you. It never had your name on it.
Yeah.
True.
Very true.
I felt that thing.
I loved that. Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, it's true. So I'm starting to see now in my life, I'm starting to see more secure attachment than anxious attachment. Cause honestly, it's like I traveled over the years of my life, you know what I mean? Like if I go back and look at huge chunks of my life, you know, because like you said, you know, the attachment styles, they can be, you know, based off situation. Yes, I'm not excluding that. I'm just saying, like, at least for looking back, I can say a theme, attachment theme. It seems like I've grown. So I used to be fearful attachment. I definitely remember that way back in high school. Oh gosh, I'm saying my age when I said the word worry like that. And then I remember avoidant attachment. And then I remember anxious attachment, and now I'm seeing more and more of secure attachment. So right now I would say I'm in between secure and anxious attachment. Oh, that is beautiful to say. Okay. Thanks for
Very
listening,
good.
Rowan. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
It's £20, please, for therapy.
What is 20 pounds in dollars? American
I think, wait, it's 0.8. I think it's about $28.
Okay, gotcha.
Don't quote me on that,
Rowan's in the UK, guys. That's so cool.
if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'm actually from New Zealand.
Hey, I'm telling you, we love English accents over here. We love.
Yeah, I know.
English accents.
I might have to come over.
You might have to. You're gonna
Yeah.
get kidnapped. We love English accents.
I'm gonna get kidnapped.
Yes,
I'd rather not
we're
come
gonna
over then.
kidnap you and want you all to ourselves.
No, please.
You can just read stories to us.
Well, I'll bring my whole family as well, and you can kidnap all 4 of us.
Yeah. You know, let's keep it in the family.
More the merrier.
The more. It's terrible. We're plotting your own kidnap. But yeah, Rowan. I mean, so do you is there anything more that you wanted to say about, you know, anxious attachment or anxious attachment?
Yes, I had a really good idea when you were
Yes.
talking about yours. And I don't think I've ever seen it covered anywhere, not that I've read. I think school really impacts your attachment style.
Oh.
In that, you know, you're looking for approval, and that, like, you're
Mm.
seeking approval from your parents.
Yeah.
Public school is sort of like it's childminders, isn't it, really? And
Yeah.
you spend more time with your teachers than you do with your actual parents.
Mhm.
So if your teachers and stuff like that are constantly wanting amazing grades from you,
Mm.
that's sort of going to internalize in yourself, and it's going to manifest into an anxious attachment style where you're like, oh, I need to get a good grade. Oh, I really need to do well. And then your value is sort of predicated on how well you do in school. I don't know why I think that must be part of the reason. Because if I look
Yes,
back,
dude.
I think that'd really impact your ability to be able to form attachments and stuff like that. If you're constantly seeking approval from your teachers and the whole school board in general.
Damn. I didn't even think of that. Yo, that is so true.
Yeah.
Like, you always have this standard to strive for, to the point where it can unknowingly, we can and will internalize that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's from a young age as well. It's from a very
Yeah.
young age. I always remember, like, when I was quite young, I was always a bit mischievous. Like when I was in primary school, I was always a bit mischievous. And then I had a teacher that just
Wait,
literally
primary school,
primary school for us is I don't know what
elementary.
school. Elementary, yeah.
Elementary. Yeah. Sorry.
So when I was like 7, I had like a really not scary. Yeah, she was quite scary teacher, and she didn't take anything from me. Like sometimes I wouldn't even be that bad. Like I wouldn't be talking, and she'd like stop the class and say that I was talking. I remember once that I yawned in class, And she said, "Why are you yawning? Are you tired?" And I said, yeah, just a bit tired. I didn't sleep that much last night. And she was like, "Well, maybe you should sleep a bit more." And it was just so terrifying. I was like, what? And then it sort of instilled in me this like fear, I guess, of that figure. So it's like fear of the authority figure.
Yeah. Ooh,
And
yeah.
that is sort of like it manifests into further relationships. I think I'm beyond that now, but I think in the past I can look to that and be like, that's potentially why I had an anxious attachment style. And I remember having a conversation with, because I have a therapist that I speak to like very irregularly, probably like once every 4 months, and he was talking about the development of the superego, which was Freud's theory idea. It's basically when you're growing up, I don't know if you've heard of it, but you basically find a person to look up to as like a father figure, and however they respond to you is how your superego develops. Your superego is the voice in your head that's saying like, "Oh, you're doing this right, you're doing this wrong. Oh, you're so stupid. What are you doing that for?" And I think I internalized like my brother as my father figure, and it sort of like has a negative repercussion in that I'm constantly seeking his, like, it's not like you're seeking their approval, but you are metaphorically, like, always you use it as like a basis from which to seek something from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you don't get that, then that develops you into an attachment style. Maybe. I don't know. I'm speculating.
No, that's no. You're making me think. You're making me think. Interesting. I never thought about it like that. That's awesome. See, now I gotta go do more research on attachment styles. I gotta refresh my mind, because I mean, making these connections is really eye-opening. Like, wow, I didn't even know that. Sorry. I am on my anxiety med. That's why I yawned. That's also, I'm not going to get into the yawning part, but I definitely don't like that your teacher told you about the yawning thingy.
Yeah.
Yawning can mean a lot of things.
She was awful. She wasn't a nice teacher.
Yeah.
I didn't have her for long, I don't think, but I still remember her. No,
yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah, see, yeah. But y'all, there's this YouTube channel that I watch. Well, I don't watch it anymore because I don't. Oh, because I'm on a new YouTube account and I'm not subscribed to them. That's why I haven't seen them in a long time. But it's called Psych2Go. PYSCH, the number 2, and then the word go, GO. Oh man, and their videos on attachment, and it's like 5-minute videos, and it just explains things so perfectly that it makes you think and it makes you see, okay, this is normal because I was raised like this. This is why I have this attachment style. Or it encouraged me to seek counseling for attachment styles. It was them, you know what I mean? They're so well educated. They explain it very well. For us who don't really, like, the language is for all folks. And when I say that, it's because they're not using these huge words that only a few people can understand. You know what I mean? That's another thing why I like about this podcast is this vulnerability time, that professionalism, using these big words. No, we don't do that. We want everyone to understand, because I don't read the dictionary for fun and know all these huge words so I can use it and seem super smart. I'm like, honestly, how can you reach everyone if you're just, saying something towards a particular... So it's like...
I agree.
Why not use something that everyone can understand? So, they're awesome, folks. I will, I don't know if I can... Well, yes, this is what I will do. I will put their link in the episode description, folks, so that I can give them credit, because I didn't just mention them and I don't want to get a lawsuit. I don't know how that works, so better safe than sorry, so I'll put it in the episode description. And as well as Rowan's YouTube and Instagram. Rowan, you have TikTok as well. Or not TikTok, you have Twitch as well, right?
Twitch?
Okay,
No.
just
I do have a Twitch account, but I haven't been on it in about 3 years.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever Rowan's gonna send me to put in the episode description. His YouTube videos are super cool, by the way, folks. I'm gonna put.
Thank you.
Yes. I was watching his YouTube videos. I think you already know that, but like I was watching.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah. So Rowan, what I'm also gonna do is I'm just gonna make this a completely separate episode. By the way.
That's fine. Probably does warrant its own episode, doesn't it?
Because this is a whole episode in and of its own, and yes, I want people to like hear it all. So that's what I'll do. What I'm thinking about doing is when I release your episode, which is coming in like 2 weeks from this day of recording, your first episode. I think what I'm gonna do is release this one as the commentary, just because I mean this kind of was commentary. Because you know how I usually, like, the odd number episodes are the special guests, the even number episodes are the commentary. So I think instead of doing a bonus episode, I'm just going to do this as the special guest, this as the commentary episode. So that I can release it back to back. Yeah, I'll do that. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. I'm just figuring things. I'm thinking out loud. There we go. I'm thinking out loud. Don't listen to me, folks. But yeah, Rowan, do you have anything else to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, if you go on my YouTube channel, please keep refreshing the page on the videos, because I want to get to 100,000 video views, and I've only got 1,000 to go, I think.
Whoa, 100K
video views, yeah, not subscribers.
That is so cool. Okay.
I'm joking. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying.
Like literally, like I'm gonna do like after this. But yes, folks, do that. We love to support. We thank Rowan so much for just, of course, giving his time for us and being vulnerable. And if you haven't heard part 1 of his episode, please listen to it. It's talking about porn addiction, as well as we talk about a lot of things on there that are definitely needed, so much so that we had to do a part 2 just for attachment styles. But folks, look, let's be honest. Look, porn, look, that's real, okay? We gotta acknowledge it. I highly recommend and highly suggest go listening to Rowan's episode, which is part 1, and you will learn and you will get something from it through his wisdom and vulnerability. The courage to talk about that is huge, because folks, look, we all have a cell phone. We all know where that hidden gallery is, and we all know what incognito mode is on the internet for a reason. I'm just gonna put it right there. So if it's in your mind, if you're like on the fence about listening to it because it's uncomfortable, think to yourself, is it uncomfortable or is it unsafe to listen to this episode? I'll let you decide. If it's uncomfortable, I just want to remind you folks that we grow as how humans grow, we literally grow in the uncomfort. That's literally how the body grows, is literally in the uncomfort. That's how we've made it so far, is the uncomfort. The uncomfort is a time of learning. Now there's a difference between uncomfort and unsafe. So if you're uncomfortable about this topic and listening to this episode,
grow up. Joking.
But yeah, give it a thought. Give it a thought, folks.
Yeah.
Give it a thought. Uncomfort isn't always a bad guy, but I'll let y'all discern that this is just to well, someone might have needed to hear grow up. Someone might have needed to hear that.
Maybe, yeah.
Grow up. That was so funny. I love that. But alrighty, folks, thank y'all for tuning in once again. Y'all are loved. Y'all are so awesome. And this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time. I will see y'all next episode.